Alright, I've done just about everything in Borderlands 4, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little disappointed in the game, and I think it's kind of mid. Now, it's not like the game doesn't have anything good going for it, but I guess I was just expecting a bit more out of it. So here's my thoughts on Borderlands 4. I feel like I have to talk about performance, so let's just get that out of the way. I have a 12th gen i9, a 3080 Ti, and 64 gigs of RAM. With DLSS Ultra Performance, I got about 90 frames on low density content and about 40 frames when it came to like a drill site. Without DLSS, I was lucky to get 40 frames on anything. And I'm saying this because I'm sick of the narrative that the engine is the problem. While yes, UE5 is not perfect, there are other games that perform just better. TFD, I can get around 140, but like in high density action, I'm looking more like 90 to 110. Without DLS, it usually sits around like 75, 80. And then with Marvel Rivals, it goes even higher with and without frame gen. So yeah, older hardware that's only a couple generations old, not the problem. The engine, not the problem. The optimization of the game is the problem. I don't know if they just hired Yandere Dev in the back or what. One of the most popular mods for the game, which has 61k at least unique downloads, is to boost the performance, and guess what it is? It's just an INI file update. Slight tweaks the engine that the devs could have easily and should have easily done. So my theory is a lot of this bad performance comes down to devs that are probably just not used to UE5 yet. And the truth is, they are trying to learn, they are trying to fix this. It's just that Randy can't shut the fuck up on social media. Now, the game isn't bug free. It does have some bugs. I've had NPCs in the ground not standing where they should, and then I've had to reload the game. There's other times where the client players would not be able to see the host and they would have to reload the game. And of course, you would have the occasional crash. Yeah, there were soft progression locks, but there was nothing that was a hard progression lock, which would have been really infuriating. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, but I'm going to be honest, I did not like the open world. It's really just a lot of little things add up to just navigating this world being pretty annoying. Echo routes are usually not optimal, so you really want to always open up your map and check. But the issue is just exactly that. You have to open up your map and check. There is no mini map, there is no overlay. The map also has a lot of verticality. Thankfully, this game has a grappling hook. But unfortunately, the grappling hook is just an old limited design. You can only go to predetermined grappling points. If the game had just freeform grappling, a lot of the traversal would be so much better. And even just general gameplay. Now, something that is pretty nice is there are world bosses that can randomly spawn in the world. However, they spawn in a little bubble. What they don't tell you is the moment you step out of that bubble, they despawn. So for some reason, they fly out of the bubble and they're still alive. And since you can't shoot through the bubble, you have to bait anything that is ranged back into the bubble, which is really nice. Another good quality is that there is no catch ride station. You can just press a button and summon your bike. And when they take too much damage at break, it just goes on a small cooldown. This is really important because earlier I said that you always look at your map a lot because you're trying to navigate. And a lot of these bigger animals, they will just one-shot your bike. But the best things about the open world in this game is really how they let you farm. You finish whatever the content is in the area, then you get a teleport that goes back to the start, you talk to a Moxie board, you pay a little bit of money, and you redo the fight. This is a lot better than all the workarounds you had to do in the past to just kind of spam a fight. On top of that, if you play co-op, you and the boys can farm different contents in the same area and then just occasionally go around and loot the other areas. So the farming experience is just a big upgrade in this game. I am also hoping that this is a bug, but right now, if you play co-op and you're not the host, what happens is your progress gets saved to your file. Usually the fog war on your map will go away, but the locations of everything will not exist until you actually go around your own map and unlock everything. This includes all your fast travel, so that means you do have to just scour the map on your own file afterwards, just so you can get close enough that it appears on your map. Collectables are pretty much why I'm a Rafa one trick right now. Now you see, going around and getting collectibles once, I'm perfectly fine with that. However, when you have to do this on every character that you make, then it's really annoying. Because instead of money, this is how you get your SDU points now, which is how you increase your bank, your inventory, your ammo count. This is one of the two things that I firmly believe should be account-wide progression. The closest thing I have to a counter argument to this is that once you beat the game, you can make a character with the MSQ done at level 30, but I'm going to be honest, I rather redo the MSQ than go around this map collecting things. I also feel like the open world has negatively affected my questing experience. While the Borderlands series is no stranger to you just standing around hearing people yap, this game feels like they dial it up quite a bit. And the reason why I believe open world is the culprit is because when you have a linear map design, they're able to put invisible triggers on places you have to pass point to trigger dialogue. However, in open world design, you can just take optional routes or even just not do that quest and go off and do something else. And that's why I think the start of every quest feels like just a big info dump. If they would just update the quest objective earlier in the conversation, I would have no problem with this. Now, I am okay with the story being more serious. but I'm also somebody who doesn't get unreasonably mad thinking back on Borderlands 3. This game further reminded me of what I think is the weakest part of Borderlands storytelling, which is that the Vault Hunters you play are never really relevant or important until you're not playing them anymore. Because a lot of the Vault Hunters come back as NPCs in the following games, and there they actually make an impact on the story. You have like a few conversations here and there in this game, but a lot of the time it's them talking and then you just stepping forward, puffing out your chest like a tough guy. So I really just wish that these Vault Hunters had a bit of an importance to the story as you played them. But that isn't a Borderlands 4 critique, it's more of a just Borderlands general critique. Something that really attaches these characters to the storyline and make you feel less like a randomly generated created character. Now, saving the best for last, which is the gameplay experience itself. I've already stated that I wish there was a free grappling hook as opposed to just having grappling points. Besides that though, everything about the combat and game feel, it's in the right direction. It's everything you would expect out of Borderlands. It's not like huge upgrades, but it doesn't really have to be, I guess. It's a formula that works that gets slight upgrades over time, and I think that's perfectly fine. In the majority of my time playing, I have been playing Rafa, and he is one of the most explored characters right now because, well, he's the main character that Moxie has been playing. And what we've seen in this short time is a pretty large amount of build variety. And I'm betting that this isn't really a Rafa exclusive thing, and there's going to be a lot of builds for all the other characters. X right now doesn't have too many builds, but that character is so obscenely strong in those two builds that people really haven't looked elsewhere. I'm also pretty happy with the gun variety they have, and also now they have things that you can roll onto them. This being underbarrels and also parts from other manufacturers. This greatly attributes to having a lot more build variety and freedom. You also have a new equipment slot called the Enhancement. Enhancement slot basically buffs a manufacturer. And at first that kind of worries you because it feels like it locks you into one manufacturer. A Vladov gun with a Torgue piece on it will get all the benefits of a Torgue enhancement. It is, however, not 100% perfect, as now it does kind of make farming a bit more tedious. Because now you're not only just looking at the numbers on it and the element, you're now looking at the kind of underbarrel it rolled, also what kind of attachment it had on it, and also the numbers on that attachment. The good news is the higher Vault Hunter difficulties does increase the rate on which these parts drop on guns. I also do firmly believe that after you get the gun the first time, it should show you a list of what can drop on it. A lot of players have wasted a lot of time farming wombo combos with the part just to find out that it can't drop because there are limitations and not everything can roll anything. So to wrap things up, I feel like they did a really good job at the parts of the game for the end game grinder. Being able to repeat bosses without loading the map, adding a lot more build variety and attachments, I think it really opened up a lot of room for creativity and just having builds be different. The only problem with that is they gassed up that there is going to be an end game, but then the game launched with nothing. It's something they plan to add through DLC, so right now there really isn't too much of an incentive. But for me, the game really fell short on everything else coming before that point. A world with a lot of vertical movement with a dated movement system. Traversing the map is just annoying as there is just no overlay or minimap and you just have to keep opening your map because you can't trust the line all the time. And character by character map and collectibles that force you to redo things that I feel like you should only do once. And I know I'm not alone because in the PC space, there is a lot of people sharing save files with this map and collectible stuff done because they just want to actually play the game and not just redo the map every time they make a character. Now, when it comes to the DLC, I think I'm probably going to wait for a lot of it to release, if not all of it, and then go through it then, if I feel like it's worth it. But that really sums up why I feel like Borderlands 4 really isn't the peak for the series, but it's nowhere near as shitty as Wonderlands. I absolutely hated that game. But yeah, that's it.